Disclaimer. I doesn't claim any of the arts. All the picture shown belongs to the respective artist and company. If you are original owner and want me to remove the video, I will do it immediately. Just send me an email to inform me. We see a platform where Kim and Shin are fighting. Due to their intense battle, the platform is being destroyed. We see that Kim has defeated Shin, and all the spectators are astonished by Kim's victory over Shin. They can't believe that an S-rank awakened lost to a C rank. Go seems pleased with the outcome of the match because Kim managed to draw everyone's attention to his fight with Shin. We see Shin's body motionless on the ground after his defeat, and all the tickets he had collected are scattered on the ground. Kim picks up 3 of the tickets on the ground, bringing his total to 5. With that, he has acquired all of his exam tickets, and all that's left is to wait for the exam to end. Suddenly, a large, sharp icicle attacks Kim. Kim quickly notices the attack and jumps into the air. He is surprised by the attack because the only person in the competition area with such a skill is Lim. After deflecting the ice attack, Kim realizes that the area around the platform he is standing on is being covered by a spherical ice barrier. The platform area is completely covered by this barrier and turns into a large snowball. We see that Lim is also inside this snowball and is angrily approaching Kim. Kim is surprised and wonders why Lim is doing this, asking himself, why did Lim come here? How long has she been watching the fight? Lim stands in front of Kim and says, I believe that with great power comes great responsibility. Kim is confused by what Lim said. Lim continues, power without responsibility is simply violence. Kim Tae-gyun, you're pretty strong. I never would have imagined that you'd defeat Shin Yoon-bok like that, and you probably defeated Lee Jung-jae that way too. Lim extends her hand towards Kim, preparing to attack him. Kim, who was confused, had no choice but to use his stealth and disappear. Lim begins her attack, launching ice and snow attacks from above. Her snow attacks are like bombs, and at this rate, stealth skill or whatever is just pointless. Kim tries to attack Lim with his stone skin skill, but Lim neutralizes his attack, kicks his face, and throws Kim, knocking him down. Kim receives a serious hit from Lim. With an angry face, Lim says, in that day in the gym, I believed in you. I thought you were different from kids like Lee Jung-jae. She attacks Kim with combined attacks of ice and snow and continues, I thought you wouldn't act recklessly out of pure self-interest. One of Lim's ice attacks gets through Kim's defense and hits him in the face. While Lim readies her attack to finish Kim, she says, but after seeing your fight, I understood in the end Lee Jung-jae as well as Hyuk-soo. It was all your doing. Lim launches her attack, hitting Kim with a giant ice attack and throwing him into the air. Kim's body can't do anything at this point. We see a huge wave created by Lim's attack and large pieces of ice spreading everywhere. While we see Kim on the ground struggling to get up, Lim stands still, ready for another attack, and says, unauthorized use of skills is a crime, and those 2 are still in the hospital. But after all that you've been through, I won't report you. However, withdraw from the player tryouts because you don't deserve to become a player. In a moment, Lim's eyes widen, seeing that Kim stands up and says to Lim, who the fuck are you to say that? You couldn't even stop Lee Jung-jae's tyranny. Power, responsibility, deserving. When it comes down to it, all you want to do is eliminate me. I'd rather you use the survival test as an excuse rather than acting so pathetic. We see Lim, shocked by Kim's words, and she says, I see. So that's your answer. In that case, without having to go easy on you anymore. We see that Lim readies a strong attack in her hand and creates a huge double-edged hammer from her ice. And with a serious and angry face, she says, I'm going to end you with this, Kim Tae-hyun. Then we see Kim, his body and face covered in blood, his body wounded and bruised. Kim notices and says, after being shattered hundreds of times, stone skin lost its function long ago. And even if I use stealth, it gets disarmed immediately with AoE attacks. The stat-boosting Monarch's heart is already active, but it's not enough to turn the tide. Predation is still sealed. I don't have the stamina to cast paralysis on her in a scuffle as I did with Lee. In the end, I only have one choice left. Kim sprints and rushes towards Lim's attack. We see Kim and Lim both ready for the fight, and the big ice ball fills with energy and explodes, spreading all the ice everywhere. All the spectators are waiting to see the result of the fight between Kim and Lim because they can't see due to the explosion. Even Go is worried about the result of this fight. Then Go and the other observers are shocked and confused. Then we see on the platform Kim is on top of Lim and he is kissing Lim. Even Lim is shocked and confused. Lim, with a giant hammer in her hand, rushes towards Kim, intending to strike him with the hammer. She attacks Kim, aiming to crush him with the hammer, and in doing so, cracks the ground. At that moment, Lim realizes that Kim is not there. She looks up and sees Kim. He has jumped into the air to evade Lim's attack. In this critical moment between life and death, Kim's goal is not to kiss, but to paralyze, a status-altering skill that is more effective at close range than at a distance. Rather than indirectly, where the chance of success increases significantly, Kim directly infuses paralysis into his blood and forces Lim to ingest it. Considering Lim's S-rank monster-like resistance, this action was a gamble. The result was successful. Lim was on the ground, paralyzed, and Kim was standing over her. Lim couldn't speak. She was paralyzed. Her body's resistance had failed. Kim had launched a critical attack on his opponent's mind, increasing his charm by 3 points. Kim couldn't believe that his attack had worked and that he had won the fight against Lim, and S-rank awakened. The exam ended and the bell rang. The first phase of this trial was completed. The medical team would now move all candidates to safety. All candidates were to wait at the last location. The first trial was over. With the completion of the first trial, all injured candidates were immediately treated by the medical team. Even though Lim Ayong suffered paralysis, she didn't lose her trial card and was still conscious. So she passed the first phase. As for Kim, he managed to get 7 cards, and his unexpected achievement of defeating Shin Yunbok and Lim Ayong made him the center of attention of the trial. Everyone in the resting room was talking about Kim and how he defeated Shin and Lim, even though he was only a C-rank awakened. They were curious about the methods he used. Kim was amazed at how truly impressive his recovery skills were. Kim, who couldn't even walk before, wondered when he had acquired that skill. Suddenly, someone calls out, "Kim Tae-yun!" Kim turns to see who's calling him. He sees Shin, who, in anger, combines his fist with his lightning skill and attacks Kim. Kim, with quick reflexes, blocks Shin's attack with his stone skill and catches Shin's fist. Shin wants to make up for his failure in the exam. Shin attacks again, and Kim defends himself from his attack, creating a huge wave. Everyone in the resting room is watching them. Everyone cheers for Shin and tries to make Kim unable to participate in the test. But Shin is annoyed by their cheering and attacks them with his lightning, electrocuting them. This makes them quiet. Shin wants to fight fairly with Kim this time and says, "If you don't have that lowly trick of yours, then let me teach you who's at the top." But in a moment, Kim and Shin feel that the gravity is getting stronger and the ground is absorbing them. Shin sticks to the ground, but Kim is resisting this mysterious power. However, it's not enough. Suddenly, a man with blue hair and sunglasses is getting closer to Kim. Kim is shocked and can't believe that this man has the power to make everyone stick to the ground. He was an S-rank player, Park Sungjin, one of the strongest players of the new South Korean Player Association, and a prospective SS rank player. The man is amazed by Kim's resistance against his skill. By this, he increases the gravity again, but even that couldn't make Kim fall to the ground. Kim knew that the awakened S-class and player S-class are different, but how could it be different to such an extent? Park looks at Kim and says, "Look at this guy. He's still standing even after this much power? Even a veteran player can't stand it." Park increases his power again, but the medics make him stop his actions. They yell at him and say, "Are you planning to get rid of the students who just finished recovering before the second phase even starts?" Park says he just wants to discipline them. Park asks for Kim's name, and when he learns it, he smiles because he sees an impressive candidate has appeared after a long time. Park notices Kim's plan that is targeting S-ranked awakened and players, and says he will be waiting for Kim. Then we see all of the participants are treated and ready for the second phase of the test. We see Park on stage, and he starts to explain the second phase of the trial. The second phase is a D-rank dungeon, which shocks all of the participants. Park continues explaining the exam, stating that each group consisting of 5 candidates will enter the dungeon through the gate. A team with a player assigned as a supervisor will explore the dungeon. During the dungeon exploration, all actions will be evaluated. Weapons and necessary consumption goods will be provided by the association. Now it's time for the candidates to enter the gate. They have to take turns and enter the gate in front of them. Kim was thinking, but not about the second trial, because even beginners who have no real experience should be able to be in a D-rank dungeon, especially with a player. He was thinking about the double dungeon. Apocalypto. He was just hoping it's not that. Because inside of the D-rank dungeon at the second trial location, there was the first double dungeon ever discovered. Including the first explorer party of victims were annihilated, which led to the dungeon remaining undiscovered. Kim couldn't tell them that he knows all of this because they would not possibly believe his words. The only thing that Kim can do now is just focus on the task, and as long as Kim is not part of the first explorer party, there must be enough ways to survive. After Kim enters the gate, we see him with a disappointed face. In front of him was a man with a mustache on his face and glasses on his eyes, and 4 other candidates. The man with glasses starts the exploration, and it was bad because this was the second phase trial supervisor and an A-rank magiology player, the discoverer of the first double dungeon, Apocalypto. Thank you for watching this video until the end. Stay tuned for the next chapters.